everyone.
Hello.
Today we are going to present our material. We are from group 2. We are going to present about language disorder and delays. Childhood bilingualism. And principles and practice in second language acquisition. Without spend a long time, let's begin from the first speaker. It's me. The first one is definition and overview of language disorder. Language disorder refers to condition where individuals experience difficulties in understanding, using, and processing language. These difficulties can manifest in various forms such as expressive language disorder, difficulty in verbal expression, or receptive language disorder, difficulty in understanding language. The second one is case and risk factor for language disorder. Language disorder can arise due to combination of genetic, environmental, and neurological factors. Some common cases include genetic predisposition, brain injury, and abnormalities, hearing impairments, and develop disorders such as autism spectrum disorder. Next.
Okay, I will explain about causes and risk factors for language disorder. Language disorder can arise due to a combination of genetic, environmental, and neurological factors. Some common causes include genetic predisposition, brain injury or abnormalities, hearing impairments, and development disorders such as autism spectrum disorder. Next. Assessment and diagnosis of language disorder. The assessment and diagnosis of language disorder typically involve a comprehensive evaluation conducted by speech-language pathologists or other qualified professionals. This evaluation may include standardized tests, observation of language skills in different contexts, and interview with parents or caregivers. Next. Treatment and intervention for language disorder. Therapy, education, and family involvement are key in treating language disorders. Speech language therapy, and assistive technology play an important role. Impact of language disorder on academic and social development. Language disorder can hinder academic performance and social interaction. Early intervention is vital for addressing these challenges. Okay, thanks for the next part is about childhood bilingualism. Definition and types of bilingualism. Childhood bilingualism refers to the ability of a child to speak and understand meanings proficiently. There are two main types of bilingualism in childhood. Simultaneous bilingualism, where a child learns two languages at the same time from birth, and sequential bilingualism, where a child learns a second language at a later stage after already establishing proficiency in their main benefit of childhood bilingualism are that there are 4 benefits, namely 1 cognitive benefit. Research has shown that bilingual children tend to have better cognitive skills like improved problem solving, enhanced creativity, and better literacy skills. 2 academic advantages. Bilingual children often perform better in academic texts such as higher performance in reading, writing, and math, and then enhance overall cognitive abilities. 3. Cultural awareness. Bilingual children have the opportunity to learn about and appreciation of the different cultural and traditions and open-mindedness and empathy towards others. 4. Improve social skills. Bilingual children are often better communication abilities and advantages in building relationships with people from different needs and backgrounds. Next. Factors influencing the development of childhood bilingualism. One, support from parents differs. Parental support and encouragement in using both languages at home and in the community can help children maintain and develop their bilingual abilities. 2. Age of acquisition. The age at which a child starts learning a foreign language can affect their proficiency and years of language acquisition. Younger children tend to have an easier time learning and second language compared to older children. And the last, social cultural factor. Social cultural factors such as the community's attitudes towards bilingualism and the availability and of resources for learning both languages can also influence the development of childhood bilingualism. That's all of me. I will return to the moderator. Next.
Okay, thank you. I will explain about challenges of bilingualism in childhood. Children may experience language mixing or difficulty distinguishing between language, which can lead to communication issues. Children may take longer to achieve language development as they navigate between two languages. Jadi untuk tantangan belajar bahasa kedua, bahasa Inggris dari anak-anak itu adalah anak-anak mungkin akan mengalami pencampuran bahasa atau kesulitan menggunakan bahasa yang dapat menyebabkan masalah komunikasi, atau mungkin juga anak-anak akan mungkin membutuhkan waktu lebih lama untuk mencapai tonggak perkembangan bahasa saat mereka beralih antara dua bahasa. The next. Strategies for supporting bilingual development in children. As you can see at the video, there are 5 strategies for supporting bilingual development in children. The first is consistency. Consistency. Unless there is a significant reason to the language you use, occasionally your child may complain or refuse when using the same language you are using. Artinya teman-teman, kenapa harus konsisten? Karena kalau seorang ibu ingin mencapai sebuah target, dia punya anak itu dia harus konsisten untuk mengajarkan dia punya anak tentang strategi dalam pembelajaran bilingual. Kalau seorang ibu dia tidak konsisten dalam mengajarkan dia punya anak, maka anak tersebut akan bermalas-malasan atau tidak akan kayak sering mau lepas dulu begitu untuk belajar tentang bilingual. Terus yang berikut, rutin. Rutin juga berkaitan dengan konsisten. Jadi kalau setiap hari belajar, maka anak tersebut akan perkembangan bahasa Inggrisnya itu akan semakin meningkat. Yang berikut adalah communication with school and with teacher and school. Itu communicate with teacher and school. You and your child, teacher must stay in touch and agree on the strategies to support your child. Artinya teman-teman, berkomunikasi dengan guru di sekolah itu juga penting dalam meningkatkan kemampuan berbahasa Inggris anak. Bisa juga berkomunikasi untuk mengingatkan seorang guru. Jadi bisa kalau meningkatkan kemampuan berbahasa Inggris anak itu bisa lewat membaca buku atau mungkin menonton video-video bahasa Inggris atau mungkin mendengarkan musik. Yang penting bisa membantu anak untuk meningkatkan kemampuan berbahasa Inggrisnya. Terus yang berikut adalah diverse opportunities for practice. Jadi ada banyak kesempatan yang bisa dilakukan oleh anak dan orang tua untuk meningkatkan kemampuan berbahasa Inggris anak. Bisa dari kehidupan sehari-hari, kehidupan lingkungan pendidikan maupun kehidupan lingkungan bermainnya. Terus yang berikut adalah parental education are key for nurturing bilingual development. Jadi pendidikan orang tua juga itu penting. Kenapa penting teman-teman? Karena kalau misalnya pendidikan orang tua itu hanya terbatas, maka anak tersebut itu dia tidak akan mampu untuk belajar karena anak itu dia belajar dari rumah dulu baru dia bisa di sekolah. Jadi kalau dia punya pendidikan di rumah itu kurang, maka kalau sampai di sekolah juga dia akan kurang untuk memahami atau belajar. Jadi pendidikan orang tua juga penting untuk meningkatkan kemampuan berbahasa itu. Mungkin saya dari saya. Terima kasih.
Next, we have principle and practice in second language acquisition. There are theories of second language acquisition, such as various theories, like behaviorist, kinetic, cognitive, and social-cultural, offer insight into how individuals acquire a second language. And we have factors influencing second language acquisition. We have 4 points here. First, age. Younger learners tend to acquire language more easily than older learners. And second, we have individual differences. Learners vary in their cognitive abilities, learning style, and prior linguistic knowledge, all of which affect language acquisition. And we have exposure to the target language and the 4 first language background in second language acquisition. And next, strategies for promoting second language acquisition. Meaningful input, interaction, language practice, and a supportive learning environment are key for facilitating second language acquisition.
And also analysis, language and solution in second language. There are 6 challenges in second language acquisition. The first one is developing vocabulary. Without the pronouncing words and using by the rules, beginners fears fear of speaking without the understanding of the speaker getting stuck in sentence. Here are some documents without this vocabulary conversation. The first one is use yourself in clear English, listen to music, eat a photo when you want. And then about yourself, which indeed is a number, well, language one minute. Application for teaching and learning visual environments. First one is clear communication, increase accessibility and understanding, global collaboration, cultural sensitivity, multilingual assessment, language inclusivity and multilingual expanding language practice.
Okay, that's all from me. Thank you. That's all from us. Any question from other group?
Itu baru
question to 3 to 4. Okay.
Okay, thank you for the time. So, my question is about childhood bilingualism. Second option, how does childhood bilingualism impact our risk of developing language disorders, such as specific language impairment or speech sound disorders? Ada lagi? Jawab pertanyaan lagi.
Oke, action.
Ya, terima kasih atas pertanyaannya. Kami kelompok 2 mendorong untuk jawabannya. Dan jawabannya yaitu kebiasaan berbahasa dua pada masa anak dapat mempengaruhi risiko terjadinya gangguan bahasa seperti gangguan bahasa spesifik atau SLP atau gangguan bunyi ucapan. Ini dapat memberikan keuntungan kognitif dan linguistik yang mungkin menurunkan risiko, namun tantangan seperti kebingungan bahasa atau paparan terbatas pada setiap bahasa dapat meningkatkan risiko. Secara keseluruhan dampaknya kompleks dengan pengaruh positif dan potensial negatif. Dan yang kedua,
Terima kasih.
terima kasih.
Any question from other group? Voice.
Ya, sampai.
Okay, thanks for the time. I'm from quite want to ask a several questions. My several question in part language disorder, which is, can you explain of combination of genetic, environmental, neurological, and affective?
Saya akan menjawab pertanyaan dari Clifford. Faktor genetik merujuk pada warisan genetik yang diterima dari orang tua yang dapat mempengaruhi predisposisi seseorang terhadap suatu kondisi atau karakteristik tertentu. Ini melibatkan penelitian tentang gen dan pewarisan sifat dari generasi ke generasi. Kemudian faktor lingkungan merujuk pada pengaruh dari lingkungan fisik, sosial, dan budaya di sekitar individu yang dapat memengaruhi perkembangan atau manifestasi suatu kondisi. Ini meliputi aspek-aspek seperti diet, paparan terhadap zat kimia, kondisi sosial, dan pengalaman hidup. Sedangkan faktor neurologis merujuk pada segala sesuatu yang terkait dengan sistem saraf, termasuk otak, sumsum tulang belakang, dan saraf-saraf yang mengontrol fungsi tubuh dan perilaku. Faktor neurologis dapat memengaruhi perkembangan fungsi dan respon individu terhadap lingkungan. Ini meliputi aspek seperti struktur otak, aktivitas saraf, dan gangguan atau penyakit neurologis yang mampu mempengaruhi kesehatan dan fungsi neurologis seseorang. Mungkin itu saja.